There's a really interesting topic tonight, the 3 paths to enlightenment. So I thought I'd just touch on them. I've got a talk coming up Monday week, so I thought I'd just briefly touch on it because it's probably something that might be beyond people's understanding what I'm going to be talking about. So I thought if I give you a little bit of an idea, you might want to come to the talk. It's more in depth. So there are actually 3 aspects of the Absolute Truth. The Absolute Truth is actually referring to God, the Supreme. And to be fully enlightened, you actually need to know all 3 paths. Some people only know 1, or they may know 2. But we really need to have a good understanding of all 3. And then you can make informed choices of which path you would like to take in life. Yeah? So the first path is Brahman realization of the Brahman. The Brahman is the white light, sometimes known as Nirvana, the Brahma Jyoti, so many names for the white light. Yes, most people have heard of the white light. Yeah? No? Yeah? And this white light is actually the effulgence coming from the form of the Supreme Person. It's in the spiritual realm, so it is actually a spiritual path. You're going to achieve transcendence. When you practice this, it's a very, very austere practice actually, to move the life air up the Sushumna, through the different chakras, and you leave through the top of the head, and you travel through the layers, the outer layers of the universe, and enter into the Brahma Jyoti, the white light. And in that condition, you become completely unaware of your existence as an individual. You become merged. It's a merged condition. You experience so much relief from, fear and the encumberment of this body. You don't have a body on anymore. So it's like amazing feeling. It's like such a relief. You don't have there's no attachment to this material world. And it's just like a blissful condition for the soul, much more blissful than being in this material realm, going around and around on this wheel of samsara. But the problem is it's not really an eternal situation for the soul. There's a lot of effort. We'll go into that in more detail in the full talk. But to get there it's very, very difficult. And it's not a permanent situation for the eternal soul. So we're looking for something eternal. And because we have this strong propensity to love and be loved and to be active, in this merged condition, we're not going to be able to stay there forever. We can stay there for a long time, sometimes millions of years, but eventually we're going to come back out of that condition because of this strong desire to love and be loved, because that takes more than one person. You can't be in that, you can't have a loving relationship in that merged condition when you're in the white light. So you will come back out eventually. You'll come back into a middle planetary system, back into the material world, and you can do it again. Some people spend many lifetimes going up and down and up and down. And so while it is a very blissful situation for the soul, and it is on the outskirts of the spiritual realm, it's not an eternal situation for us. And it's very, very difficult to achieve. Very difficult, especially in this day and age that we live in now, the Kali Yuga. It's a very austere practice to be able to achieve this. It's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult. The second realization, and also these people who follow this path, actually, they chant the Maha Mantra. It's part of their process of achieving this Brahman realization. The second aspect of the Absolute Truth is Paramatma realization, the realization that within everybody's heart there is a form of the Supreme known as the Paramatma. So we are called Atma, us the soul. It's often referred to, usually referred to in the Vedas as Atma. And Param means supreme. So along with us, we are situated in the region of the heart. And alongside of us is a form of the Supreme, or the Paramatma. And it's considered that, it's described in the Vedas that it's like two birds sitting on a tree. One's there enjoying the fruits of, his actions. And the other one, the Paramatma, is sitting there, the other bird, waiting for him to turn to him. And, sometimes this is, known as, intuition. Is that the word? You feel this intuition. Sometimes, people refer to it as the voice within. There's a little voice within. I should have listened to my heart. So many different, ways we can describe it. But quite often we get these little messages from within and we go, I should have followed that. That was actually the right thing to do. And I've gone off and done my own thing using my own mind, following my own mind, and it's not turned out so well. And you think, oh, if I'd have only listened to that little voice within, it might have been a better outcome. So yeah, he's this, Paramatma is just sitting beside us, trying to guide us through life. And we don't listen a lot of the time. We even hear, but we don't listen. And you'll find the more you practice meditation, the more that, this covering will be removed and you will be able to hear clearer. And when you're being guided fully by the Paramatma, your life is just amazing because, you'll be acting for in your own benefit, you the soul, rather than what this mind and body is trying to get you to do. So it's a much more harmonious situation for the soul. And, this process of Paramatma realization is the goal of Astanga Yoga. So if everybody here heard of Astanga Yoga? Sometimes in the Western world, it tends to be referred to a very athletic exercise system where you sort of jump through and there's lots of vinyasas and things like that. But that's a very, very small part of yoga, the exercise system. And so this Astanga Yoga is known as the 8 limbs of yoga. It's got 8 limbs. Anyway, it's a really huge subject, so I'm just very briefly touching on it. But it's a really interesting subject. So this is the goal of the Astanga yogis, not just the ones who do the powerful, exercise system, but those who are actually, following the 8 limbs of this particular process. And it's a very wonderful process. What they're trying to achieve is union with the Supreme, union with the Paramatma, union of the soul with the Paramatma. And that union is just, it's a loving union. It's makes you blissfully happy. It's a bliss that we don't know. We haven't experienced here in this realm. It's a bliss that is the bliss of the soul. And you find that, the more that you become uncovered through mantra meditation, the more this union with the Paramatma will start to reignite and grow from there and develop into this really blissful, loving union. And the third aspect of and they also use the Maha Mantra. It's a mantra that the Astanga yogis use in order to achieve, their goal of their process. And the third one is BhagavanRealization. And this is actually what I'm trying to follow. And this is understanding that the Supreme Person has a form. He has a transcendental form. And we are made in his likeness, as it says in the Bible. So he has a form similar to us. It's like us, but it's transcendental. So he is not non-different to his body. Like we have a body on and we are the spiritual being within, whereas the Supreme Person is his body. He is his body. He's transcendental, spiritual, and this is known as Goloka Vrindavan, and it's a wonderful part of the spiritual world where everybody is having this really, really wonderful, loving relationship with the Supreme. And you can read about it in the Vedas. It's just the most amazing place. And I've heard it described by my spiritual teacher as a love fest. We all want love in our lives. If you go to Goloka Vrindavan, there's nothing but love. You're swimming in an ocean of love. And so this is also, we use the Maha Mantra in order to achieve that goal, which is BhagavanRealization. So I'm just going to wrap it up in one little analogy here. There was a train line going through India, and nobody in India knew what a train was at the time. They'd never heard of a train. And when they finally laid the tracks down, there was a little village, and they were a little way from the train line. And they sent 3 men to go and have a look. When the first train pulled into that station nearby, they wanted to know exactly what that train was. So 3 men walked from this village to the train station, and they waited for the train to come in. And first they heard this huge rumbling sound, and it was nighttime, so there was a big white light. And the first man, he ran back to the village, and he said to the villagers, I saw the train. It was made this really loud rumbling sound, and it was a big white light. And they're going, wow, that sounds pretty funky. And then the next 2 men, they waited a bit longer, and the train pulled in a little bit further, and the second man could see the form of the train. So he ran back to the villagers and he said, I've seen the train. Not only is it a rumbling sound and a big white light, but it actually has form as well. And they're going, wow, this is far out. And then the third man, he stayed right till the end, and the train pulled in, and he could see that it wasn't only rumbling sound and a big white light. It had form. There were people in it relating to each other. And he had seen he had the whole vision of the train. So that's an analogy of Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. So those goals are there. Anybody can follow them, but it's good to have informed choices when we actually follow these paths, because not all paths lead to the same place. So it depends what you want. But if you want to know more, come on Monday week, and tomorrow, a week tomorrow. And we'll be going into that talk in depth. It's a really, really interesting subject. Can't wait? No, I know you'll be there. Greg's a regular to these. Yeah. So I won't ask if there's any questions, because I think we'll be here all night. It's one of those that always has a lot of questions. So we're just going to chant. And if you want questions, come to the Life Enhancement Workshop. And we'll call Anna. Is she there? So thank you very much. Namaste.